I don't know about you, but sometimes I wonder, what's the meaning of life? So maybe not everybody has had this issue before their 40s, but I've gone through what I would consider like a third life crisis. So I really wonder, what the hell is the meaning of life? What are we supposed to do? Are we even supposed to do anything at all? Is there something that we should understand as humans that is our job on this earth? Or do we not even have a job? It's something that I've wrestled with for many years. I got no answer to it. And so I want to ask you, the audience, what is the meaning of life for you? What is important to you in your life right now? And what do you think we need to be doing as a society? Because really maybe that is the bigger question. It's not the meaning of life for us or me, but the meaning of life for us all that we should be considering. But again, I've got no answers to it. For a long time, when I was younger at least, I thought that the meaning of life was making money, having a house, a stable job, meeting somebody before I was 25 so that we could have kids by the time I was 30 because I didn't want to be wiping butts by age 40. That was my meaning of life, was financial stability. I had the goal of being worth $1 million by 30 and $10 million by 40 and $50 million by 50. And none of that happened. I think we all have goals like that when we're young, though. We see successful people and we want to mimic them. Of course, growing up, I had a very large influence of media upon me. The TV was a lot different, though, back then. The radio was a lot different. We didn't have social media until, what was it, like mid-2000s or something like that. So our understanding of what society is now is a lot different than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago when I was growing up. And maybe that has a lot to do with it. But I do see that a lot of people seem to be discontent, and maybe that's just the online personas coming through. We have a lot of unaccountability that we can get away with when we're online. We can rail on people all day long and go home and sleep well, even though we spend a majority of our energy in a negative way, I believe. And that's something that I don't see very often, but it happens occasionally. We've always had people kind of aiming at us as a business and myself, because I don't know why. I don't really care to know why, I suppose. But again, what's the meaning of it all? Is that really how we should be living our lives? Should we really be consuming so much media? I mean, it's around us, so it's really difficult. It's really difficult to get away from that. And on this recent trip that I went to Frederick, MD, Maryland, I got a really big dose of TV and radio and things that I normally don't consume. And so I got to see this downside of society that I normally distance myself from, and it really brought this question right back. What the hell are we doing with ourselves? It seems like media is just sowing discontent all the time. My looks aren't good enough. I'm not in shape enough. I need to have more money. I need to maybe have less kids, or consume less, or consume more. There's really, it's coming at us from all directions. And, of course, I feel bad because I am in a lot of ways contributing to consumerism. I sell toys for a living, and that really comes back to what is the meaning of life? Should I be selling toys for a living? And I know I'm just asking more questions than I have answers to, but I have no answers to this. And so I'm asking you, what is your answer into all of this? But I really feel maybe at the end of the day, it boils down to food, water, shelter, and health. And besides that, nothing really matters. We as a species were either put upon this earth or we came from this earth. And I feel like our positions as being able to ask these questions upon ourselves, we have these freaking opposable thumbs to where we can make stupid things like watches and sandals that are made from no less than 5 different materials that are, ultra light and comfortable, and things so we can clip our own toenails without having to gnaw them off with our teeth. We are in a position where we really need to look at what we do, and you've probably seen me railing on monoculture grass lawns quite a bit, and it kind of bothers me that as a society, at least in the US, that we've been fooled into thinking that these are the things that are important in our neighborhoods, that we have these grass lawns, we spend how many countless hours a week or a month and how much money a year on these things that really don't matter, and all we're doing is pushing the earth away from us, saying, I don't want bugs near my house, I don't want rats near my house, and to a degree that's okay. We probably don't want to be rolling around in rat turds all night. We don't want to have hay floors, straw floors in our homes. And so to some degree, this technological process that we've had that gets us further and further away from nature has made our lives better, but it's always been at the expense of the rest of nature. And so I really do feel that, as I hate to say the top being on the planet, because we're really not, but we're the top consumer on the planet. We're the top thing that is hurting our planet as far as where the planet's come from. We need to take a look at ourselves and wonder, what should we do moving forwards? We've certainly done a lot for technology in the past couple hundred years, but I don't think it was so much of an industrial revolution as it was a fossil fuel revolution. Everything that we have today has come from fossil fuels. Even cars, even those rubber tires, they're mostly made of plastic these days. They don't come from trees. So what do we do to make sure that moving forwards that we keep a space for ourselves? Because if we keep pushing nature away further and further, we won't have a spot either. We are born from nature, and without nature's help, we won't be here. Even the insects, the basis of all of at least the land-based food chains, without insects, the rest of us won't survive. Even our big monoculture farms, it needs insects. It needs insects for pollination. Right now we're using fossil fuels to fertilize them, and that's kind of weird, honestly, and at some point in time we're not going to have that anymore. And if we don't have that insect population to either rebuild our soil from or to decay the freaking trees that we've chopped down, then what are we going to do? We're going to have to wait a millennium for them to bounce back before we can bounce back. And maybe that's really self-centered to be worrying about ourselves first, to wonder, how are we going to survive? Because as George Carlin said, the earth will shake us off like a bad case of the fleas. She'll be fine, but we won't if we don't watch what we're doing. So let's take it back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs even. I've got to use a cheat sheet here because I don't remember that crap from college. So the way that Maslow put it was that we need our psychological or physiological basic needs to be met: food, water, shelter, health first, for us to be able to do anything at all. After that, we have our personal safety. And that would be a safety of making money, a safety of a home that is not going to get broken into, the safety net of modern society, I should say. After that, we need to find love. So we have to have our basics before we can find love, of course. And we'll have a family, and we'll procreate, and we'll make society bigger, and we'll be able to exploit our children for doing our own laundry, and making, if we had a family business or a farm, they can help us make money and become the self-sustaining process. After that, we have esteem, because only after we are secure in ourselves and our love life can we feel good about ourselves, of course. That only seems natural, at least in this modern society, that we can't value ourselves until somebody else loves us. I don't quite agree with that, but this is Maslow's hierarchy, and we'll continue on to the top of the pyramid, and that's self-actualization. So after you are content in your ways and somebody else is content in your ways and you feel good about yourself, then you can self-actualize enough to help the rest of society. So now that we have become the supreme being of our own making, then we can help the rest of society be better. And maybe in my case, that's trying to figure out, well, what do I do with this big ass grass lawn? Or what do I do with the knowledge that I've built with motors and motor speed controllers? Should it be toys for the rest of my life? Or should I focus on maybe renewable energy, that we take fossil fuels to refine down into our renewable energy harvesting sources, and then from there we can use our renewable energy, of course. Because let's be real about it, without fossil fuels to drive this primarily, we don't have a foot to stand on. We've got no feet. Maybe we'll be on stubs in the future. But let's take a step back from Maslow's hierarchy, and we'll look at the Blackfoot hierarchy that he took his from. He flipped it upside down. So for the Blackfoot, the first thing was self-actualization. So you learn how to integrate yourself into the society. You learn what you need to do to help everybody out, and whether that's growing food, whether that's going hunting, whether that's basket weaving, or whatever the case is, you find your place in society. In today's world, for me, that would be, I suppose, toys. I have found my place in society giving people happiness with toys. The next one would be community. So after you've found your place within the community, then you can help the community as a whole. You can find other people. You can help other people to find their spot in society. After you have done that, you're helping to integrate the next generation, and that is the cultural perpetuity, the perpetual cultural that you have helped design, I suppose. So perpetuity, there we go, cultural perpetuity. So once you yourself have found a place, once you are helping other people find a place in your society, then you help your society move forwards. And maybe that's the best way to look at it. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. It's completely flipped from what we're used to, as far as the manifest destiny that we're all taught, at least in the United States. It is kind of a weird way to look at things, that we would place ourselves last as far as, helping out. First we need to find ourselves, and then we can help everybody else. But really what we're doing is trying to help the community first by being within it and helping it work and grow. But maybe not grow forever, because we don't have infinite space, we don't have infinite resources, and that manifest destiny that we've all become accustomed to, it's not going to work out forever. I can't grow my business forever, certainly not. Maybe next year there's going to be a big contraction, and what are we going to do then? We build all of our things upon the idea that we're going to get a raise next year, and that's maybe part of the inflationary economy, which I believe is a whole nother topic that I would love to get into today. But man, all I've done is raise more questions for myself today. So again, maybe y'all can help me out. What do y'all feel is the real purpose of us as a society, or even us as individuals? It's something that I started wrestling with for the past decade. Shoot, I got a hobby house that's just for toys. It's the most absurd thing ever. And it's not like a great house. It's not fancy at all. You look at some YouTubers online and they've got these huge freaking mansions when they're in their 20s. And, is that really what it's about? I suppose it is if you're in the position to do it. But yeah. So I'll leave you with even more questions than what I came to this with. But maybe that's what it should be. It's just more questions that I got no answers for. So in the meantime, what I feel like is right for me is going to be looking at the small ecosystem around me. I can tell you all the stuff that I've put in the front yard, the little bit of food crops, the whole bunch of tall grasses, and letting all the asters, all of the different flowers pop up, and just giving them space, doing a little bit of work permaculture style to, of course, keep those around and keep the bad stuff out, the invasives essentially. It feels right. It just feels right to do that and see all the bugs and see all the rabbits spring up, and the freaking deer eating my Hosai pear in the backyard. Man, I moved it here because they were just beating on it in my other neighborhood, and within 3 days they found it in the backyard. So maybe I'm just setting up something for the deer to eat around here, and that's okay with me, because right now in this space I'm not hungry and I don't want for anything. So in the meantime, maybe I'll just help nature kind of bounce back and give it some space. Hopefully this helps you reflect on something. I've certainly got more things to think about today because I didn't answer any questions for myself. But if you did like this, maybe give it a share, one of those likes. Spread it around a little bit and we can help other people ask that question to themselves. What the hell are we doing as a society? Maybe we'll figure it out. I mean, these flip-flops are damn comfortable. These pants are damn comfortable, and it's pretty useful to have a calculator right here on my wrist. So maybe it's not all so bad. As always, thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.